All right, we've reached the next module. In this module, we are going to learn one of the most important tools in Looker Studio, the use of filters and regular expressions. This will allow us to make a series of changes and manage our reports in a more advanced way, as well as create custom dimensions and metrics. The first thing we're going to learn is how to handle filters before moving on to regular expressions. To do this, we'll start by creating a new report. In this new report, we're going to use the Google Analytics source, the demo account, and select the Google Analytics 4 property of the Google Merch Shop. Let's change the name of this report. Here we'll title it Filters and Rejects. Perfect. Let's delete this table. It brought by default, as we won't need it for now. First, let's add a date range control and select the previous month period. Next, let's add a donut chart. We'll make sure that the dimension our chart contains is gender, and in its metric, we'll bring in the metric for views. Okay, let's see what this chart is showing us. Here we're seeing a breakdown of views by the gender of users who visit the website. However, you might notice that there's a portion, and it's considerable, that shows up as unknown gender. In my case, I could say or assume that this information is not relevant, although it's very relevant. Just to clarify, this is just a practical example. I want to say that for this application, this information is not relevant. To do this, I'll create a filter that allows me to exclude it and only show information on male and female gender. Let's proceed. To do this, I'll go to the chart configuration and scroll down to the filter section, where I'll add a filter. When I do this, the filter configuration menu appears. The first thing I'll do is assign a name to the filter. Make sure the names are descriptive. If you're already working with multiple filters, you'll need to identify them easily and know what function they're performing. The name I'll assign is Gender Exclude Unknown. At the outset, the filter gives me two main options, include or exclude. For the example we're developing, we want to exclude the unknown gender. So, I'm going to select the exclude option. Now, the category I want to exclude is in the gender dimension, so in the field called Select a Field, I'll specify which metric or dimension I want to pull information from. In my case, I'll look for the gender dimension. The next thing we need to do is choose a condition to identify the information. We have several options that work as comparison operators. I'll quickly explain each one. Equal to compares if one value is exactly the same as another. For example, if you want to filter only the products with a price of $100, you'd use price equals sign $100. Contains checks if a value contains a specific string of text. For example, if you want to filter clients whose name contains Garcia within its characters. Starts with checks if a value begins with a specific string of text. For instance, if you want to filter cities that start with San. Rejects P match. Uses regular expressions for more complex text pattern comparisons. We'll learn this in the following classes. For example, if you want to filter email addresses that have a .com domain, rejects P contains, similar to rejects P match, but checks if a text string contains a regular pattern. Example, if you want to filter names that contain a sequence of 3 consecutive vowels, you'd use name rejects P contains IU. This allows us to check if a value is present in a list of values. Example, if you want to filter products in the categories electronics or fashion, is null. Checks if a value is null, meaning no value is assigned. Example, if you want to filter clients who have no address, you'd use address is null. For this case, we're going to select the equal to option because we know exactly which category we want to exclude, and we only want to exclude this category of unknown gender. To do this, I'll write the exact name, taking into account case sensitivity. Remember, it must be exact. If you don't have the exact information, or if there are many categories that start or contain that name, it's better to use other options. The exact name of my category is unknown. I'll click Save and that's it. When we return to the chart, we can see that the unknown gender has been excluded and it's now only showing the percentages for male and female gender. Let's make one more change to our filter. Look, we can enter here and edit directly. But in the first classes, when we were exploring the interface, we learned the location of the menus. So let's do it through the Resources menu. We select Manage Filters and go to Edit our filter. Now, I wanted to perform another action. I needed to exclude both unknown gender and male gender. So I'll add another condition. Notice that here we can add or and conditions. Since I wanted to exclude both values, I'll select and. If I wanted it to exclude one or the other, I'd select the or condition. Notice that another configuration has been enabled again, so we already know the process. We select exclude, gender equal to, and here we add our second value, which is male. We save and that's it. When we go back to the chart, we can see that both unknown gender and male gender have been excluded. Now the entire 100% corresponds to the female gender. To explore some additional filter configurations, let's add 3 more charts. I'll take a scorecard to see the total summary of views. Additionally, I'll add a second scorecard, which I'll configure with sessions. And finally, I'll add a time series chart where I can see the views trend over the configured time period. Now, I'll add a new page. You already know how to do it. On this new page, let's just add a chart. I'll only add a scorecard that brings in views again. I'll add a date range control on this page so that we can have the same date range as on the previous page. And we'll select last month's option. Perfect. Let's go back to the previous page. When applying filters, we can do so at 3 levels. The first one we've been seeing is applying it at the chart level, which means the filter only works for a particular chart. The next level is applying it at the page level. When this setting is applied, all charts on the current page will be affected. Finally, configuring a report level filter means the filter applies to all pages within it. Let's see how it works. I'll select the time series chart, and in the filter option, I'll add a filter and select the one we created. But first, I want you to pay attention to how the chart looks and how it will look after applying the filter. We see that the maximum peak is above 25,000 views. However, when applied, the maximum peak reaches around 6,000. Let's make the next application at the page level. To do this, we right-click on Current Page Settings, and on the right menu, an option appears where we can add a filter. We select our filter and look. It's already been applied to the whole page, and as you can see, all the charts on this page are affected. Now let's make the last configuration at the report level. To do this, we right-click again and select Report Settings. And similarly, the filter option appears. We select our filter once again and see the results. To confirm that it's working correctly, both the Views scorecard on this page and the one we created should show the same results. Let's go to our second page, and indeed it shows the same information, confirming the proper use of filters. See you in the next class. where we'll learn to handle regular expressions, which also help us filter and manage information in a much more advanced way.